All right guys, well we are in Grand Junction, Colorado. I just hopped out of the van just real quick to quickly assess this little bit of road that I'm on. We had some beautiful weather up until the point that I got to Colorado, and then overnight it changed. We've got cold, it snowed last night, and then it warmed up just enough this morning for all that to melt, and it's made these roads out here in this kind of open BLM area very sketchy, very difficult to drive. It's clogging up the tires. Even just walking out here in my boots are completely caked full of mud. I'm afraid that that if I try to come down this, the van's gonna become a 9,000 pound out of control bobsled. I really would like to get back to some cliffs that I see back there. It looks really cool, like some really beautiful area, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna need to backtrack to a couple little camp spots I saw back behind me and hold out for the day and just see what the weather brings the next couple days.
For those that are familiar with how slick this type of clay mud can be, you don't need any further explanation. But for those that aren't familiar, just imagine driving on an ice skating rink with a 2-inch layer of axle grease on top, and you should get a pretty good idea of how slick this mud can be.
Easy, I think we found our spot right here. All right, folks, well, I was able to find a little bit better route that wasn't nearly so muddy, and I was able to get us a lot closer to these hills back here. And even with the mist, they look really cool, really pretty. I imagine if there was some great sunlight or some really beautiful sunset that they would really light up and be beautiful. But even with the little bit of mist and fog that we got going on from the snowstorm coming in, it still looks pretty cool. And I think it'll be a cool place for us to camp for the next day or so. All right, well, we're just out going for a little bit of walk. Since Daisy's been pretty cooped up in the van, I thought I'd just take a minute to walk her around a little bit and just check out the immediate area. We're currently just kind of down in a little bit of a depression. The van's just up on the hill behind me, but it's starting to get a little bit breezy up where it's at, so I thought we'd come down here and just check this out. There's a couple, looks like a nice camp spots down here in this ravine, but unfortunately, again, I'm seeing a ton of garbage, so I think I'm just gonna stay up where I'm at, and because it seems fairly nice and clean up there. The only problem is it's a little bit in the wind, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work out if I decide to have a fire tonight.
Unfortunately, this is a commonality that I see no matter what state I'm in. Public lands that border a city or a town are an easy target for lazy slobs that have no respect for these amazing public places. The only good thing about lazy people is they're lazy, and they usually won't take the effort to travel too far. So the more remote you can get, the better. If conditions would have been different, I most likely would have traveled further away from town. But if it wasn't for the garbage, this spot was great. It offered some amazing views. Like I said, this isn't an issue that pertains only to Grand Junction, Colorado. I can show you as bad or worse around the public lands that border the city and towns in my home state of Oregon.
I tell you what, just that little bit of camp setup on this cold day, and my fingers are definitely feeling it. Feels nice to have this fire going a little bit and be able to get a little feeling back in my fingers. I don't have a ton of firewood tonight, so it's not going to be a very long fire, but just enough to enjoy a glass of whiskey by should be good enough. Alright guys, well, it's about 5:30. It's going to start getting dark here pretty soon, I imagine. So I'm going to get dinner going. I'm going to get everything prepared just inside the van where it's kind of warm and cozy, and then we'll go outside and we'll cook it up in the skillet in the fire. Tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bit of a sausage gravy, and what I'm going to do is take this breakfast sausage, this venison breakfast sausage that I have, and mix it with some mushrooms and some heavy whipping cream. That will kind of make up the gravy, and then what we'll do is we'll cut up some polenta, and then we'll just pour that gravy over the top and call that dinner. Alright guys, well, we retreated to inside the van. It was just super windy out there, and the wind chill was just making it really uncomfortable. Even with the fire, it was hard to stay warm and really be able to enjoy yourself out there. So it's just a much nicer inside the van. We got the heat going, out of the wind. Rather sit in here and enjoy my food than get myself beat up outside by all that wind. So anyways, we at least got everything cooked, so we'll see how everything turned out. I really like that gravy. One of the things I added to it off camera was a couple slices of pepper jack cheese. Let that melt inside the inside with that heavy whipping cream, and that really helped thicken it up. And then of course being that it's pepper jack, really added some nice flavor to the sauce. Yeah, that's a winner. Yeah, I really like that. Anyways, guys, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat this. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the evening, kind of kick back here on the couch, maybe pick out a book from my list of books there, and just relax and read a little bit. Let the rest of the evening kind of go by, and then maybe in the morning we can get out and do a little bit of a hike. That's my hope, at least. We'll just kind of see how the weather is. Alright, good morning, folks. Well, just poured ourselves another cup of coffee. Just been laying here with Daisy, watching it start to get light across the landscape. It's much, much calmer this morning, which is nice. Last night got pretty rough. Wind was hitting the van so hard it was rocking it back and forth, so I jumped out, put the awning and everything down. Even though I had it tied out pretty well, I was concerned it might get damaged. Yesterday, we had a lot of fog and mist, which, very beautiful in its own right, and being very eerie looking. But today, even though it's still pretty cloudy, it's clear, so we have a much clearer look at the cliff sides, and we're just getting a little bit of light breaking through where there's some breaks in the clouds, and it's making for a very soft and painterly look across the landscape. Really nice, relaxing morning, and like I said, just kind of enjoying it with a cup of coffee. Heat of the van, still very chilly outside, but nice nonetheless. Oh man, it is snowing out there now. Man, that weather changed really quick. It was actually looking like it might be a half decent day, and now the wind is back to blowing, and it is really snowing out there. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get that hike in that we originally hoped for. I think we're just gonna hang out in the van, read a good book, and just enjoy the warm and comfort. I wanted to explore a little bit more of what Colorado had to offer, But I guess that's just all the reason to come back at another time, maybe a little later in the year when it's not quite so snowy. I hope you guys did enjoy what I did have to show you, and if you did, please do give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below, and we'll see you guys again outside.